Hey everybody, welcome to a Britpop React. You're me, BP1 and BP2
Over
over
here.
there. And today we've got the UK's super emerging talent in Andrew Cushin's on the channel, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very, very much for having us. Yes, good afternoon. How are we all?
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's warm in the UK at the moment. It's nice. Nice weather. We're out and about.
Boiling. I mean, you can't see, but I've got a great pair of shorts on. I would show you, but it's a bit explicit in it.
So have we. To be perfectly fair.
We look all right up here from the neck down. So we got you on the channel just to talk about a few of the things that you got coming up where you're off. So you feel free to have a talk about what you want, but we'll start off with your new single that's just been recently released.
4.5%. See, it's obviously released last week, and for us, listening to it, absolute awesome track. I'm just trying to find out a bit about that track itself, because I see here you said it in Leeds live back in 2020. So is it a track that you've had written for quite a while? And
yeah, I've had that song written. I don't mind talking about it now. I think when I first wrote it, I wanted to keep my cards close to my chest. But I've found now the more I'm speaking about it, the better I'm feeling about the subject matter and all that. So the song's about my dad originally. Passed away when I was 18, and I wrote that song about 2 days after he passed away. So it was
oh wow.
But
oh,
it was
wow,
I'm not as loads of young lads and young lasses and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm not one to talk to therapists and all that kind of stuff. I was offered it and all that, I know my little sister done a little bit, but I'm not one to go and spill me heart out to someone else, So I've found my therapy in song. So there's a couple of songs like that. There's a few more that I'll probably release later, but it pulled me through a tough time. But I mean, it's obviously got a really harrowing subject matter and all that, and it's quite profound. It's a really stark sounding song, but the reaction's been amazing, and it's been so good to see. It hasn't been so good to see that people are relating to it, but it's been very nice for me to realize that I'm not the only one that had to go through something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's been quite a nice thing to see other people supporting each other and all that. And I've also had a couple of people at my gigs that have came over and shared stories about how they've been an alcoholic and they've kicked the drink on the head and all that kind of stuff. And it's great for them to listen to that song back and see just how dark it can get. So but no, the reaction's been amazing. The video's going down really well. Very emotional song to be a part of, but I'm extremely pleased that it's out there now.
And when you were writing, was that one of the I mean, between me and him, we've got not an ounce of talent, but is that something that came pretty quickly to you? Did it just, you sit down, or was it something that you sat down, scribbled a few lines and then they came, or was it just, it came all in one block and you were able to sort of get it out?
Yeah, it came all in one. As I say, I wasn't writing songs. I wasn't a full-time musician at this point. And I don't even think I'd signed to my manager and all that kind of stuff. So I was literally just writing songs to get out whatever emotion, and they've been the most or the better received songs. So I wrote Where's My Family Gone in that time. I wrote 4.5% that time. There's another song called Addiction, which is again, it's along the same sort of lines. But they were all really harrowing songs, but I wasn't writing them thinking I can't wait to get in the studio and get these released to people. I was just writing them because I didn't want to keep all that shit bottled up. But yeah, it was one of them that it all came in one. I still remember where I was sat on the edge of the bed, and I recorded that song and I sent it to my mum. And then just an outpour of tears from all the family, and I thought, wow, it must actually be quite a personal song. But as I said, I didn't write it with a conscious decision to release it or anything like that. It was only when we were recording this album that I thought, wow, this could be a single that sees me in a different light. I've always been seen as that kind of Noel Gallagher B-Tech version and all that, the Noel Gallagher from Wish and all that. Whereas I think releasing that song particularly first, so releasing that song first sees me in a different light, I think.
Then you can sort of add your bring out the rest of the sort of catalogue to back it up, but just so and
I can start releasing exactly. I can start releasing the Noel Gallagher B-sides after.
Yeah. Well, some of his B-sides were all right.
Yeah, well, I've ripped off a many few, mate. I've ripped off a hell of a lot.
I mean, it's a brilliant video, and looking at the comments that you've been getting on Twitter and YouTube, there's a lot of empathy out there as well for you and the song. And yeah, I mean, when I watched it, I was just taken aback a bit, just for the amount of passion that was in it from you doing that video. How did you feel when you were sort of filming that?
Oh yeah, it was pretty dark, man. It was the guy who recorded it, a guy called Barnaby. he was really clever how he done it. So he virtually put me in a little box with a camera there, got everybody out the room, so it was just me in a room on my own to kind of express how I was feeling, you know, and like everything. I watch it back. I've only seen it back a few times, but I was like, Christ, I'm pulling some funny faces there, but none of it's fixated, you know. It was just sheer emotion, and yeah, it's as you say, the comments are amazing. The only thing I was nervous about when I was putting this out is people. I was quite nervous as to people would be like, oh, he's just, you know, he's pulling out a sob story. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of an X Factor thing or whatever. But it's been the polar opposite. You know, I've had people coming out and sympathise. I've had so much support. I went on a walk today, kick out some of the alcohol and all that I've been dying. And now I must have been stopped 5 or 6 times. And the first thing that they said was just, it was all along the same lines. It was just, wow. Do you know what I mean? There was some guy who was fucking halfway up a ladder cleaning someone's windows, and he jumped off the ladder and gave us a cuddle. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
right, yeah.
So the support's been immense, and yeah, it's a really powerful song. I hope it's a success. I think it's got every chance to be that, you know.
Definitely. And even in the US as well. I mean, we've been doing like big artists on the channel with like NF, and it's that sort of song that's it's sort of now, I think it's the right sort of time to do it, because we'll have a lot of US viewers watching this. Yeah. And I think it'll really resonate well, you know. And if we did it yesterday on the channel, so make sure you go and listen to it and go over to Andrew's, channel to watch it. So social medias. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, dare I say it could be a little bit Billie Eilish, I think. Do you know what I mean? With the
Billie Eilish, yeah.
I've had that. I think the vocal cuts through amazingly, but it's just that pulse and heartbeat going through it. You know, I think it takes from somewhere else. I was all thanks to the producer.
Yeah. And who was the producer?
The guy who produced it was a guy called Dave Ehringer. So he does he's done like the Manic Street Preachers, and a guy called Jamie Webster from Liverpool who's doing amazing as well. And I've known Dave for quite a while. Massive Star Wars fan, as am I. Fucking huge beard about the size of my torso. And no, he's great. He's really, really good. And I sent him, because I used to do 4.5% acoustic, and and so all the videos that you'll see on YouTube, me playing live, it's always been done acoustic. And I went into the studio with the intention of doing it that way, and he just totally ripped it apart. He went, "No, let's do it like this." Do you know what I mean? So it means that when I come and play it live, I'll not even have a guitar, so it's going to be even more stark, you know, because it's going to be all the hands waving and pulling on my hair and all that. That's it. I will get me Lewis Capaldi moment in there somehow.
Good for you. Did you watch Lewis's documentary?
I still haven't seen it, man. My manager watched it. He said it was great. It is, yeah. It shows. I've heard that it shows Lewis in a bit of a different light, doesn't it? Because he's always been. I think I was known of him because of the sort of funny videos. You know, he was always hilarious. But I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't really make a comment. But from what people were saying, shows a little bit of a vulnerable side to him, I think. Which
I think so. You know,
definitely want to watch.
Definitely. We've been doing some Ren lately. Have you got into the chat called Ren? Yeah, you know, and
absolutely. But yeah, I think that's first and foremost, that's the aspiration for 4.5% is to do something like that high Ren, where it's like, because for me, when I first heard that song, it was just on Spotify, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, it's pretty good. And then when you watch the video for it, and you're like, fucking hell, man, it's probably playing on Psychosis and all that. It's amazing. But I think when you do music like that, which 4.5% could be, dare I say it, it's almost it's not a song anymore, it's a piece of art. Do you know what I mean? So I think when because an 8-minute video is not very appealing to somebody who's into Spotify. Do you know what I mean? But then when you sit down and watch, I sat and watched it with my mother, and she was blown away, you know. So yeah, it's a piece of art, that song. He's a talented dude, though, man. He's a talented dude.
Album wise, then. So what's we see on your social media that you got a picture up there. Is that going to be the album cover, or is that just a placeholder for the time being?
No. So that's the album cover. The album's out on the 29th of September. It's available to pre-order now, so I can buy it.
Yeah. Get on it.
And yeah, I'm hoping for a new bathroom. And I want a new bathroom. My mum wants a 3-piece suite.
Is this like my mum wants a bungalow tour? Is it? Is that where you got that one from?
And my nana wants a new car as well, which I don't know why, because she's fucking nearly 75. She shouldn't be on the road anyway. She wants a new car.
Brilliant.
I want a fucking sunbed or something like that. So it's got to pay the bills anyway. So buy it, please. It's only
brilliant.
That's it. Yeah, I mean,
that's it. You know,
it's called Waiting for the Rain. So is it called that because it's the first song you ever?
Yeah,
wrote?
so I wrote that song again. It was when I first started noodling with a guitar. It was said guitar as well on the wall.
So which
Sweet.
one's this one? Because I've seen in one of them you had a Martin, and then in another one you got, is that the
Oh yeah,
Gibson?
no, this is a Tanglewood. This was my dad's guitar.
Tanglewood, right?
This is quite sentimental, this one, but I do a lot of writing on that. What have I wrote on that guitar? I've wrote some good ones anyway. I think I wrote memories on that guitar. But yeah, it's great. It's all cracked and everything. It's hammered. I definitely couldn't take it on tour, but yeah, I love it, man. It's a sentimental piece. But yeah, I wrote "Waiting for the Rain" on that when I was 16. It was my first song I ever wrote. "Waiting for the Rain" was the first song that got as a manager. It was the song that got Noel Gallagher involved because he loved that song. Got us a record deal. That song enabled me, dare I say, to do this full time. So I thought it was only fitting to call the album "Waiting for the Rain," and we have reimagined it as well. We went back and redone it, which is good because we'll still always have the acoustic version, which is a little bit slow. I think I was 18 when I'd done that, and then it's nice. 5 years later, we've got another version, which is it's almost shown the journey a little bit, So it's got loads of instrumentation and got a little bit of a Beatles reference in there as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Good.
On
So,
that.
yep.
Well, just going to ask him on that one because obviously a lot of people sort of resonate with Richard Ashcroft on that. There's a bit of a Richard Ashcroft vibe on that. Is that is he an influence to you?
Oh, it's massively plagiarised. Let's not beat around the bush. I think let's not put that one in either. But yeah, no, but
have a chat with Ed Sheeran, just get some help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he had his fair share with a Bittersweet Symphony thing, didn't he? So he may let us off. But no, I've always been a big fan of Ashcroft. And I was listening to a lot of him when I was early teens, mid-teens, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I suppose it's a little bit of a nod to him, but don't sue us, please. I've got fuck all to be sued for anyway. To be fair,
I mean, and just on that note, we did get asked the question to ask you from one of the viewers, Rachel Level. She said, who were your musical influences? So obviously you referenced a few of them in there, Richard Ashcroft, Beatles, but anybody else that you massively sort of thought, I like these guys, I want to do this myself, sort of thing that.
Well, I suppose because when I first started, it was just the one man and the guitar thing. So someone like Jake Bugg was a big inspiration because I thought,
okay, yeah.
I mean, I know he's got a band and all that now. He's had them for years, but when he first started, and I was just watching him, I was 14, 15, and I was just beginning to get an interest in guitars. I certainly couldn't play them then, and I was seeing him just totally captivating, with these audience. He was totally bringing them all in, and it was just one man and a guitar. So I thought, Jesus Christ, he's not a massive fella, you know what I mean? He's quite a short little guy with a little parlor guitar, and he was able to totally grab people's attention. So I suppose people like that, I was a bit like, wow, great, this is very achievable, and then obviously people like Noel as well. I actually preferred some of Noel's acoustic stuff to the full band Oasis stuff when I was growing up. So I've always had a bit of attraction to the one man acoustic guitar thing. So yeah, and then I'm a big fan of a guy called Robert Johnson, who was a blues artist in the 1920s.
Blues,
so there's loads. I've got quite a broad taste now. It's good. It's all guitar based though. Pissing about with synthesizers and all that bollocks. It's got nothing to do with it.
Well, like I say, just plug that in, tune it up, and go. I mean, so you mentioned the Tanglewood here. Like I say, I saw in one of your videos you had the Martin. Are you gonna have a different guitar for every song, a bit like Kelly Jones? I mean, when he goes on tour, he's got
he's got a few on it. Well, we're trying to catch a load of gear from all of the top guitar brands.
Good man. I mean? That's what we were pushing there.
I know exactly what you're pushing for. We were So I've got a Gibson 335, which I love. I've got Bigsby put on that. I've got the Gibson J150, which was one of the Noel issues. I've got a custom built guitar from a guy called Sam McLaren. What else do I use? Fender gave us a Jag for free as well.
All right, Jag, yeah.
Nice. And I sent that in. I got a Bigsby put on that, so that's probably going to be a workhorse. I've got Tellys and Strats. Yeah, I've got fucking. There's loads.
All right, you got. I mean, and like you say, most of the time you're sort of acoustic, but do you break out the electric much, or?
Yeah. We try and make it quite varied, and then I'll always have a few where I just do them on my own. So like 4.5% was one of the songs that I used to, the band would go off stage and I'd do that on my own. So, yeah, there's a few that I like to swap in between. As you see, you've got to share the love with all the guitar brands, especially if you want to get more free stuff on you.
That's it.
Get more free stuff.
Play the game,
Yes.
as we call it. Play the
Got to
game.
play the game, mate. Got to play the game.
That's it. Don't tie yourself to one.
Well, the dream is to do that with cars eventually. That's the dream.
Yeah.
Like
JK did that, I
What are you
think,
doing
back in the
today?
day, didn't he?
Jamiroquai, yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, like a couple of Porsches and a Bentley. Just share the love, you know.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So, anything else on your new album that we should keep an eye out for that we haven't heard yet?
Okay, so there's a song called "Come Down," which I absolutely love. It's a proper driving song, as I'd call it. You know what I mean?
Like those.
It's like if you're driving home at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you stick that on, you're gonna stay awake.
Yeah.
What else is on there? There's a song called "Broken Love Song," which is probably one of the best ballads that I've ever wrote. It's like 5.5 minutes, but that's great. What else we got on there? Obviously 4.5% is going to be really stark. The song called "It's Coming Round Again," which is amazing.
All right.
Yeah, there's a few. We've got a few more singles on there as well. Song called "Wor Flags," which is war in Newcastle means hour, so it's a bit of a tie to the football thing as well. So hopefully we could get that played at St James's. So there's a couple of golden bits on the album, I do have to say.
Okay.
Is it all new songs, or is there going to be a few like you said you've reworked waiting for the rain? So is there going to be any of the others on there, or is it just?
Yeah, well, I was really conscious to have everything on there by the same producer, so it's all got the same aesthetic feel and all that kind of stuff. They all sound the same sonically. So "Dream for a Moment" and "You'll Be Free" was done by Dave Ehringer, so them two are on. There's not one other song on Spotify that's on that record, because I just wanted everything done by the same producer. And if you listen to the album from start to finish, as much as I love Memories and Where's My Family Gone, they just wouldn't fit sonically. Do you know what I mean? Because they're different, and I'm a different artist now anyway. I've got a different voice. I haven't changed that much. Still got a shit haircut, and I'm still always stinking to drink. But but yeah, they're all sonically the same.
All right. So we move on to UK tour that you've got coming up later on this year, in October and November. Looking forward to that. We'll get all the dates on the screen for you. If anybody's out there and you're looking, get on it. Go and buy a ticket. Go see this man below. Hopefully, I'll be at one of your gigs at the Portsmouth Wedgwood Rooms. That's near my sort of area of the woods. I was just going to ask you about your tour. So, how are you feeling around going to places like Portsmouth Wedgwood? I mean, we're Primal Screen, Albo. I've seen Kasabian there. We've got Oasis, Stroke. So massive bands in these, and that's where they all started, the core. And to feel that you're going to go in, and sort of almost relive a bit of what they've done. How are you looking forward to that?
Well, yeah, it's a really special thing. I mean, for one, I'm buzzing for the tour. It's always great when you kind of get away with the lads and all that. I mean, we all hate each other by the end of it, but it's great for the first few days are the best.
First weekend.
But yeah, the first weekend, and then someone gets a glass thrown at their face or something like that, and then it's like, maybe go home now. But no, I'm buzzing for it. Like places like Portsmouth and like Milton Keynes and Leicester and all these places that not everybody goes when they go on a tour, So it's nice that we're kind of ticking them all off. But there's some great venues on there. I mean, the City Hall in Newcastle the first night sold out, but some of the iconic people that have played there, it's insane. And then Scala in London's going to be another really nice box tick. And then there's loads of like Academy 2s on there, so hopefully we could go back and maybe do the main room one one day if this becomes a bit of a success. Yeah, it's going to be good fun. It's going to be really good fun. There's a good venue in Carlisle called the Brickyard, which has been there for years. So I'm looking forward to playing them. I always like going to do the old famous venues. Do you know what I mean? So some of the new ones, they're great and the sound's brilliant and all that, but there's not any history and stuff there. Like kind of as you say, you've been to say like Sabian and all that in the Wedgwood Room. So it's nice to stick your name in amongst them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was saying to BP1 earlier, like we should go down to see you, but then I realised I was on a cruise then. So as you're just coming back from the US, I'm just heading that way. So we'll probably pass each other. So you mentioned there that the lads on tour. Is it the same band that you use? And how did you come across these guys, or who will be going on tour with you?
Yeah, it's the same band. I've had them for a little while. A few of them have chopped and changed. But no, it's great. One of the lads just lives 5 minutes from me. I've known him for years. Another guy, Richard, he's like the general of the band. He's a little bit older and all that. And it's like, you know, if you're late for sound check, he's the one to speak to rather than me.
Right.
So he's great, but he's a Borough fan. So we have a lot of football banter. And then we've got two lads in from Nottingham. One of them's West Ham. The other one's not into football. It's a nice mix, and they're all really nice lads. And I suppose the biggest thing is I trust them on stage. Do you know what I mean? If I mess up or, you know, forget a line, or I'm, you know, playing in the wrong key or whatever, you know, I'm confident that they can keep the song going if I mess up. So it's good. It's a nice bunch. It's became a little bit of a family thing, I do have to say. It is good. Although you do, it is in most families, you feel like giving them half of fucking hiding the majority of the time. I'd stay away from Rich.
Love and hate.
Yeah, love and hate. That's it.
Because I mean, just moving on there then. So looking at the tour dates for your US one, I see Louis already started his tour today, 26th of May out there. So you're going to join him on the 15th of June. 17 dates out there in the US. I did a quick sort of bit of fun fact for you. I chucked all the venues that you're going into the old route map. So it'd take you 116 hours to drive it, 7,738 miles you're doing on that. So you start on the East Coast, West Coast, then back across. Anywhere that you're looking forward to mainly going there, or will be just a massive big blur and a big, you know, it's a big old place, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've never been to America. It's 28 gigs is what we're doing. 28 gigs.
You're doing 28 now, are you now? Yeah.
28 shows. It's going to be absolutely insane. Louis he's just a legend, man. I've got so much love and admiration for that guy. It all came from Soccer EM, and
right.
He allowed me to do Shepherd's Bush. I went and met him. We had a drink. We had a good laugh. I went to his premiere for his film, which is great. He's such a nice guy, and I do have to say I do owe him a hell of a lot. But it's going to be amazing. Like the gigs they sell, you know, he's given us this amazing opportunity. The best way I can repay him, it's not by jumping in his dressing room every day and trying to lick his arse. It's by putting on a good show for his fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
I've got to be.
Still got to perform out there.
Yeah, I've got to be very grateful, but I've also got to believe in myself that I can do a job. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be very sensible. Places I'm looking forward to going to. I'm just looking forward to putting on 2 stone and just eating a load of really greasy food.
You
come back a different man.
I want to come back a different man. I really am. Yeah, I was saying to my mother because like it's like 7 or 8 weeks I'm away for all in all. I'm trying to plan some headline gigs over there as well, so I might even be staying a little bit later. But I was saying, well, like, I'm going to walk into this house and the fucking carpets aren't even going to look the same. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, I mean, obviously, I've never been over there before, but everybody that I've seen who's went over for a long period of time says that they get home and they're sitting the booze on. They're just like, is this fucking it? Is this what I've been doing for the last? You know what I mean? Get me back to LA on that beach.
How small is it here?
Yeah, I know. That's it. Yeah. So it's going to be. I'm going to come in the house with a big cowboy hat on, a big belt.
And is it going to be the full-on sort of tour buses? You're all driving from venue to venue, or is there some flying in there? Do you know the ins and outs of it, or you'll just turn it up and go with the flow?
Well, I'm going over. So it's not the full band for America. A few of them couldn't get their visas sorted in time, which is fine. So it's going to be me and Rich and the manager going over. So it's going to be guitar, keys, and vocals. So we'll probably scrim it. To be fair, we'll probably do like a little bit of driving, a couple of flights. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. I get quite childish, as you can imagine, pointing out the Congo. Fucking hell, it's a bull. Rich, it's a bull.
It's a bull.
You know what I mean? And he's going to have to put up with this for 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks, yeah. I know it's a bull.
8 weeks, yeah. So, but yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, fucking, you can get chicken on waffles, can't you? I mean, that's just insane. It's going to be ridiculous. I also want to go to some of the... Yeah, sausage on sticks, mate. It's going to be... I mean, that's not too far out, as I'm sure you can get sausage on sticks in Newcastle somewhere.
Not down south.
Somewhere. Not down south, mate.
That's very true, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. I do have to say. It's something I'm immensely looking forward to. Yeah, so grateful. I'm just ready to work now.
Good for you. You mentioned it earlier, your War Flags. It was in the... I saw that... I've just moved a bit of paper there. The NX Newcastle gig. and you sort of thanked the war flags, and I was sort of explaining it to him over there earlier. You know, these guys that sort of turn up at the pre-match for all the Newcastle matches and sort of get the flag waving going. I mean, that was pretty impressive at the Newcastle gig there, the NX.
Oh mate, it was insane. It's like, so Wor Flags have done it for a few years, but they left towards the end of the Ashley regime. I think everybody was fairly sick. But then with the new owners coming in and the club doing well, it's like the full city's on a buzz, man. And Wor Flags have played a huge part in that as well.
Right.
Like you see, it's. I don't know if you've been to St James's Park or anything, particularly this season, but it's such a magical place to go. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to get to quite a few games this year, like in between gigs and all that, but you still walk up them steps and see the flags and you're like, Christ, this is, you know, I go back to being a 7-year-old boy walking up for the first time, you know. It's a really special thing, and to have them involved with me doing the gigs is just equally as amazing. So they've done a great job at the NX. I think they're going to do something at City Hall as well, but then that song Wor Flags, that's a little bit of a nod to them as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, they're great. I'm still waiting for them to make me a fucking flag for the Gallagher. Better hurry up.
So, I mean, you got to be happy, haven't you? This season, Champions League. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? What a season!
It's insane, but like, do you know what? And it's such a cliche thing to say. I'm sure every club will say that, or every fan of their own club will say that. But Newcastle really does deserve it. Like, we get 52,000 people there to watch. We get beat 3-0 off Sunderland. It's like, that's not normal. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I've been to games and I've left half time disgraced, thinking, why have I just fucking paid 40 odd quid to go and watch that? The fact that, you know, I get to as many games as I can, but you see the proper loyal ones who I'll sit in a boozer with before the gigs, so before the games, and they've been going for years and years, and they've seen relegation, and they've seen Derby Day defeats, and they've watched them be disgraced by lesser teams. They're the ones that deserve this more so. Do you know what I mean? The old men and the old women that have been going since the 70s and the 80s, they're the ones that really deserve this. It's impossible to not be from Newcastle and not feel proud, I think now. It's a really, really, really special city at the minute. Everyone's on a buzz. Everyone is on a buzz.
Yeah. Brilliant. Eddie Howe's done a great job, hasn't he? Unbelievable.
Oh, mate, honest to God.
His ethic, his work ethic is just unreal, isn't it?
It's insane. I've heard that he gets to the training ground for like 6:30 every morning, and it's been great to see, because you see a couple of players doing interviews and all that, and they're obviously immensely excited. I'm going back maybe 5 or 6 games ago when Champions League wasn't guaranteed, and they're like, oh, you know, we're still pushing it. Like, it still may happen. It's great, but like, then you watch an Eddie Howe interview, and it was always just feet on the ground. It was always next game. You know, he'd be asked about the Champions League, and it's just like, well, we've got to worry about sort of Brighton on Saturday, or Chelsea midweek, or whatever, you know. And it's great. He's a perfect manager, and I think we got a lot of stick when we first appointed him, didn't we? Because it was like people were shouting that we should go for Conte or Gerrard and all that. But it just goes to show that the people in charge of the recruitment in Newcastle definitely know what they're doing now. Because even the signings have been great as well. We've just brought in people who, 1, want to be there, 2, have got an amazing work ethic, and it just got an absolutely amazing attitude. And yeah, I suppose the biggest one is everybody wants to be at Newcastle now, which wasn't a thing for a lot of time.
Even when he was at Bournemouth, I remember, you know, because I'm a Pompey fan and have been for a long time. And, you know, Bournemouth ain't too far away. And I knew a lot of people that how much, you know, effort he put in there. And it was well received, even with the FA. You know, I knew, you know, with Gareth Southgate, I know, you know, within the FA, they were looking at Howe as one of those long-term England managers. And you see him come in now and you can see why, you know, he's just, the one thing with Newcastle this season, watching them, is the consistency. Because we've seen Newcastle high and low, you know, like you said, they get beat randomly by a rubbish team, and then they'll beat, you know, Liverpool or something. But it's that consistency, isn't it, right away across the season? Consistent performances, consistently effort.
Well, we've got one of the best defences in the league, you know, and I think that's got to be credited a lot to Eddie Howe, because he's kept everything really, really tight at the back. We've become a really tough team to play against, which is great. But yeah, I mean, dare I say it, why can't Eddie Howe go and be an England manager one day? I mean, I hope he doesn't. I hope he stays in Newcastle. But for me, I think he'd be, you know, maybe 5-6 years time, or even, you know, 5-6 weeks time. I'd put him in an England job. I mean, I wouldn't. I'd rather keep him at Newcastle, like I say, because we're going to win the Champions League next season. But I think he'd be a perfect option for England, and he's definitely earned his stripes now, hasn't he? He's definitely earned his stripes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So you mentioned St James's Park there. We saw you playing a gig there. How did all that come about then? And is that the sort of how did that sort of come up? And
it was rugby, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was actually
rugby one, yeah.
Yeah, it was for the Magic Weekender. I just got back from Portugal in that morning, and my guitar was left on a flight, right? So I had to get a different guitar. So I used the Noel Gallagher guitar, which admittedly looks fucking great anyway. And it was just such a dream. But I always thought I was going to be doing it at the side of the pitch. Yeah, with that one. I always thought I was going to be doing it like just beside the stands or whatever. And then when they said, no, we're going to walk you into the centre circle. And I just remember walking out and like looking round. And it was the rugby, so it was a brilliant day, but it was the wrong sport.
Yeah.
But one of the brilliant things about rugby, and they should definitely bring this into football, is everyone can drink in the stands. So it was at half time. So if I was doing that at half time at St James's, there'd be a lot of thousands that are in there getting a pint,
Yeah.
Whereas the rugby, people were going in, they were getting a pint, and then they'll come back to their seat because it was a lovely day. So I'm walking out into the centre circle at St James's Park on my own with a guitar. And there was just thousands and thousands, but they were all sat there having a drink, and it was just, it was unbelievable. I mean, I milked it. Like, I definitely walked out doing this.
Milked it. Yes.
Absolutely milked it.
What you got to though? You got to.
Yeah. Oh man, I was applauding when I was coming off and fucking trying to get corner flags and everything, mate. It was great.
Scored a couple of goals on the way out. Yeah.
That's mate. It was just such a dream. Even just like walking through the tunnel, as they're calling my name.
Yeah,
man. It was just, I mean, I've obviously massive football fan anyway, but I always dreamed of playing for Newcastle, as most kids do. So to be able to walk out on St James's, it was just a dream. It was a dream.
And how far did that younger dream go? Did you get anywhere? Play at school, county level?
Yeah, I played at school, and I played at decent level and all that kind of stuff. Men's teams and for a couple of local teams. I was all right. I was pretty good. I've got the hype for a keeper, and I'm also pretty daft as well. So I had no problem with diving into posts and all that kind of stuff. But when I was 18, I was offered my first record deal, and fingers became a little bit more important. Then, do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of my fingers have been dislocated and broken, and not one of them stretched straight or anything like that. So I thought, probably best to just stick to the guitar.
Hang up the gloves.
Hang up the gloves, mate. Hang up the gloves. Well, it's funny because I've been invited to take part in a training session at Newcastle out in the States when they're doing that thingy. So I'm gonna have to get the gloves back on. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of pre-season work. I think I have to get the cones out in the garden.
Yeah. you don't show yourself up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But there's still a chance in that. Do you know what I mean?
If I have a chance in it,
if I have a blinding training session,
that's it. He might think, hang on a minute.
Yeah, you're looking at the number one for next season. I tell you, Nick
Champions League
sit on the bench. Champions League, make me debut. That's it.
Write a song about
that. I tell you what, that's a movie. That mate, it's not a song. That's a movie, and that. There's a film in it.
Brilliant.
I forgot to ask you I was going to drop it in when you were doing your album, Rockfields Studios. How was all that then? Because obviously that's a magical place, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, man, it's like I'm just ticking off. I try not to think about these things too much because I end up pinching myself and going a little bit mental. But it was another little tick box thing. It was just amazing, and I was in the same house that Oasis were in.
Right.
Stone Roses were in and all that. Yeah. So it was like fire extinguisher still there that he squirted around the room and all that. It was great. I was just looking around thinking, this is fucking insane, man.
Is this really me? Yeah.
Yeah, I went and had like coffee with Kingsley and all that. I think Paolo Nutini was in the other studio. So he was kicking about. It was just magical, man. I was walking out the studio and then you could hear Paolo Nutini like singing in the other room. And I just thought, this is insane. And when because Rockfield's got 2 studios, but they've also got 2 like houses as well. So if you're in one studio, stay in one house. So that means you're not mixing with the other band that's in.
Yep.
In the studio that we were in was the one that What's the Story was done in, and Yellow was wrote in, and it like Black Sabbath were in there, and it was just it's all the same equipment as well. So the piano that you hear on the album is the piano that you hear on What's the Story, and we went and seen the piano that Freddie wrote Bohemian Rhapsody on. It was just a magical time. Yep. It was great. It's somewhere I'd love to go back. Like I'd definitely love to go back. It's got a real vibe, and Dave loves it there as well. Dave always works there. So it was great. Really, really good.
It's a history, isn't it? It's that, and like you mentioned it earlier about where you want to play.
I'll tell you something though.
Actually, the histories.
Yeah, I mean, here's a story for you. So, do you know the Wonder Wall, the original Wonder Wall?
Yeah.
So the table, the chair shouldn't be saying this because we might get a fine, but the chair that's outside, take a little wooden bench. We all thought would be clever and try and get on top of the wall, like dicking about. And my keyboard player Rich, he's tall laddie, and we've all jumped on the wall and we're sitting there, fucking look at me on the wall now, like giving it 6 now. And my keyboard player's jumped on the bench and went straight through the fucking bench.
Straight through the bench.
So that bench has survived Oasis and Coldplay and the Stone Roses. Sabbath. 2 days, second day in something that goes through the bench. So yeah, I think we're trying to get tape and all that and try and fix the bench. I don't think anyone's seen. I mean, they'll all hear it now. Just sends an invoice. But yeah, it can survive Liam Gallagher, but it cannot survive my fucking keyboard player. How about that?
There you go. You put your own staple on Rockfields.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's it.
It's an exciting time.
You've got so much going on.
I suppose while I'm on record, it'd be nice to say just a massive thank you to everybody, especially for the 4.5% stuff, because it really has touched my heart. It's touched my family's heart. My mum and my nana are continuously going through comments. They're getting absolutely obsessed with it, and then they'll burst into my room at 3 o'clock in the morning crying their eyes out. Do you know what I mean? Going, oh, you see what someone said? And it's like, it really, really is so heartwarming to know that there's so many nice and supportive people out there. And if people can get behind this album, it would mean the absolute world to us. So yeah, just a massive thank you to everybody that's shown a lot of love and support in the last few weeks.
Good man.
Brilliant.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier that people are starting to come up to you now, starting to recognise you a bit. Is that getting a bit surreal as well?
Yeah, it's
been
insane,
working on your signature, have you?
It's insane, honestly. You never get tired of signing someone's chest, I tell you. You never get tired of that. But no, it's great. It's great. I went on a walk today, as I was saying before the interview started. The hangover subsided a little bit.
Good
still
man.
fucking kicking in the background, still raging. And I went on a bit of a walk before, and I was just trying to sweat something out my system and all that. And I got stopped 5 or 6 times just walking, and I was like, listen, mate, pasty as fuck. I look ill. Just shake my hand and leave it up. Please don't ask for a photo. But it's great, man. It's as you say, it's very, very, very surreal. But it's great, though. It's really good. I'd be lying if I say that my ego doesn't get the best of us when someone comes over and asks for a photo. He's just asked me for a photo there, you know what I mean? It's just that's it.
Nice one.
It's great.
Right, now, if you want to, we're going to play a little game. It's not a little game, a bit of a this or that. The coffee or
This
tea,
or that.
this or that.
Okay,
so you just got to say one or the other. What would you prefer? What would your preference be?
Right.
So
are we doing this quick fire, or have I got to think about it?
You can think about it for a bit. Why not?
Yeah, spontaneous is what comes into your head the first. But if you need to stop and have a think, feel free to do so.
Not a problem.
You'll get the idea after the first question.
Yeah, I've already got the idea, mate. I'm not. You only got to pick one or the other, mate. It's
the hangover.
Yeah.
All right then. Right, here we go then. I'll start. I'll do one, and then BB2, and we're just bouncing between us. Shearer or Gaza?
Oh my God, you've
There you go. See?
Hey.
Gaza's my hero. Gaza. Just man. I love Shearer, but Gaza's my hero.
There you go. Maldives or New York?
These are tough. New York.
Batman or Superman?
He said he was a Star Wars, didn't he?
Yeah. Superman. Yeah. The other one looks a bit stupid with a silly hat on.
Indeed. St James's Park gig or Nebworth gig?
St James's Park. All day long. St James's.
Ant or Deck?
Deck.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Pizza or curry?
Pizza.
Ooh.
I'm
Vinyl or digital?
Vinyl. All day long.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, night owl. I don't think I got in until about 5 o'clock in the morning, so night owl. Well, then you
I
could
think that is early, isn't it? That's an early bird, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a bit of two in it.
Sweet or savoury?
Sweet. Always.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Harry Potter. I'd be mint with a wand. Fucking
mint with a wand. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Camping or hotels?
Oh, hotels. I'm not into shitting in a hole.
No. Oh.
Okay, here we go. Rolling Stones or Beatles?
Beatles.
Angel of the North or Grey's Monument?
Grey's Monument. Technically, Angel of the North, more Gateshead way in it.
Right.
All right, fair play. And then the final one, Time Bridge or Millennium Bridge?
Time Bridge.
There
Gotta
you
be.
go.
There you
Happy
go.
days.
A bit of fun.
one. Yeah.
Just a bit of getting to know you.
I had to choose Deck because one of my good mates is his nephew, and he'd give me loads of stick if I
All right.
chose the other one.
If I chose the other one.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. There you go, mate. Simples.
Yeah,
All good.
good. Yeah, brilliant.
Very, very much.
All it is left really for us to sort of say here today is to make sure you head over to Andrew's channel on YouTube.
Please
And
do.
make sure you go and check out his website as well. All the links will be in the description here underneath the video.
Tour dates.
Tour dates, everything. It's been absolutely awesome have a chat with you today, Andrew. It really has from us at Britpops React. Till tomorrow for another action from us. It's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him. Oh, and him.
Goodbye from these two. You're up there, aren't you? I can't see. We're all in the line. Goodbye
Yeah,
from them
we're all
two.
in there.
We're all in there. Nice
Cheers,
one. Thank you very
brilliant.
much for having us, man.
Thanks.
Cheers, mate.